In our case, because we're obviously doing healthcare valuations, influencers can be as broad as the economic policies, the economic environment. Obviously, over the past year, one of the major influencers has been COVID. And this global pandemic we've been in the middle of has really caused us to have to kind of change tactic, think about things we've never had to think about before. And that obviously is a very global influencer. They become more specific when you get to the local area where a physician or a hospital may be located. You've got, your local market share. You could be in a large urban environment where the influencer is going to be many. You could be in very small rural environments where it could just be where one hospital exists. But one group could be very influential in these very small rural areas. Then you can get much more specific when you start getting into the valuation itself, and if it's a surgery center, if it's a physician practice, that could depend on the number of providers that are in that particular entity. It could depend on the types of providers. It could depend on even the specialty that it is in that environment. So as you can see, it starts very broad and it can be very, very, very specialized once we really start digging into a true valuation analysis. And one thing to point out when I'm working on a very specific valuation, and let's say it's a large multi-specialty physician practice. And obviously there are so many things that influence that very specific valuation. Again, it's the specialties, it's the number of providers, it is where the revenue is coming from, it is the expenses. But one thing I like to point out when I'm speaking to a potential client or even a current client is current clients understand this, new clients not so much, is that when we are engaged to do a fair market valuation opinion report, typically we're engaged by a hospital. At Carnahan Group, we have a lot of very large hospital clients. We also are engaged by physicians, solo physicians, physician practices. The one thing I like to always point out when I'm speaking to a new client is it doesn't matter who engages me. And literally speaking about being influenced, I'm only going to be influenced by the information, hard and fast information that I'm provided about that practice. Whether the hospital engages me, whether the practice engages me, my opinion is going to be the same. I'm a third-party valuation consultant. I'm not influenced one way or the other about who, quote, is paying the bill.